So you got 20, 23, 24 tracks.
Yeah.
How important was it for you to put a full album out there?
I think it began to be so much shit because it's like the time, you know what I mean? Like y'all said, it was a long time. So while it being a long time, I was definitely stacking up my lumber, like, you know what I mean? And all the shit that I like is the shit that I've been working on through the years. I didn't know it was gonna be an overflow. You know, I felt like certain tracks needed to be on there. I felt like certain producers I respected like that needed to be up there. So when it was time to really go through the whole album, it was like, yo, you got mad shit. And you know, you only get paid for 11 tracks, you know what I mean? But I wanted to give everybody something extra just to let everybody know that, yo, man, I'm a man of my word. If I'm going to give you something, I'm going to give you a full plate, you know? You know, we barely get albums nowadays that have so much to offer on it. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, I full y'all up, you know what I mean? And that right there was kind of like scary too, because it was like a lot of my dudes, they was like, yo, you know, make it nice and chunky, make it, you know what I mean, nice. And I'm like, man, I want to give dudes an album, you know what I mean, like a real album. Like how long has it been since we got an album that we could at least hear 10 to 12 tracks that's hot? This album was done prestigiously. It wasn't done based on the sales content. I mean, if it do 10 million, I'm happy. I'm gonna still be the same Ray, you know what I mean? If it do 10,000, hey, that's what it is, you know what I mean? At least I know I gave dudes a solid album, you know what I mean? Like really, I think that the sales side of it is really getting out of control with the fans, because now fans ain't fans no more. They critics now. Now they do more now. Like how much he sold. Like, you know what I mean? When we was coming up, none of that shit meant anything. It's like, you know what I mean? It was just all about the music. So really, it don't matter to me what it sell. You know what I mean? I know at the end of the day, I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna go on the road. I'm gonna get my money. I'm gonna come through y'all cities. Y'all, you know what I mean? The promoters is gonna hit me. And at the end of the day, it's just about giving y'all a good album. It ain't about so much the sales. I just think that shit is corny. That shit is rigged up too. You know what I mean? Don't believe the hype. You know what I mean? You know, motherfuckers be having their little label connections with the retailers in their own little way. You know, and this whole shit is crooked like the government. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the type of shit that be going on, you know what I mean? But my thing is I didn't care about none of that. All I cared about is being an MC, giving y'all something that I felt y'all could stick in and don't have to touch the CD no more.
You came down to the UK last time, we were talking about developing a vibe for this album, and it's all about this feeling, this vibe. When did you first get the concept for that? Was it during part one, and how much has it changed since then?
Changed a lot, man, because, you know, like I said, once I changed my lifestyle, you know what I mean, it's like I started to feel like I had more to offer outside of just talking about drugs, you know what I mean? Like I said, you know, some rappers, they get stuck in one zone, you know what I mean? And I try to, you know, my name is the chef, and when you break down what a chef is, he gonna always give you multiple dishes. So I guess that name really fitted a nigga, you know what I mean? I always was trying to do something different, whether I talk about a painting or whether I talk about the streets. I always try to be versatile. But this album, like I said, this album is a collector's item for all the dudes that really rep me from the door, you know what I mean? Like I said, when we first made this album, the first one only built, it was straight for drug dealers, convicts, criminals, knuckleheads, lifers, you know what I mean? Scarface niggas, jail niggas, you know what I mean? That's what the first album was made for. But as I got in the game, you know what I mean, and started seeing how young the fans were and how women was naming their kids after me, I felt like I had a job to do. I had a job to do. Like, it's like, yo, you come and see somebody, yo, I named my baby after you, know what I mean? It's like, you name your baby after me. So even when I go back to work, it's like, damn, I can't keep talking about drugs and, you know what I mean? People naming their children after me, so I have to have some kind of responsibility. Like, I'm a conscious man when it comes to thinking about kids and all that, you know what I mean? Some shit you can't hide from them, but, you know, at the same time, we still got to sit there and watch everything we say and we do to them, you know what I mean, to make them understand this music. So I try to come sometimes different. That's why you'll see me drop something on the Mobilarity where I talk about, you know, how important it is to love your moms, you know what I mean? I see a lot of these kids nowadays don't even respect their fucking moms. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, that's some sucker shit. Get away from me. You know what I mean? You don't got no respect for your moms or your family. You know what I mean? I don't got no respect for you. You know what I mean? So I try to go conscious ways with it. You know what I mean? So people could listen to where I came from and at the same time know that, yo, at least he's switching it. You hear a lot of motherfuckers talking about switching their shit to like doing some positive shit, but you don't never hear these records. You always hear the consistent talking about drugs, guns, cars, you know, all that rubbish bullshit or whatever. You know what I mean? I want to go conscious a little bit and talk about positive things so, you know, kids will know that, yo, man, maybe I see where he went with that, so maybe I could try something different. The thing people got to understand is that when I made a Mobilarity, that was so different from Cuban Links. I know you've seen The Godfather before, right? I'm going to just give you a story real quick. The Godfather, you know, he built this whole shit on corruption, you know what I mean? He had to go through whatever. Then when the next Godfather came in, he was more mature. He didn't do the same shit he was doing. He wasn't down for the get down, picking up guns and all that type of shit. So that's where my second album concept came from, a Mobilarity. You know, we called it a Mobilarity, but in The Godfather it's called the Mobilari, you know what I mean? Which is to, you know, mobilize and, you know, become legit. You know what I mean? We ain't in the street no more, Paul. You know what I mean? We getting money on a positive direction. So that's where I was going with the album, and I think a lot of people must have thought I was trying to go back that way. You know, I had went and did that album on my own. You know what I mean? And when I tell you that I didn't even know I was gonna be a solo artist when Wu-Tang started. I never imagined myself doing no solo shit. You know what I mean? I always felt like, yo, all I had to do was drop my verse. You know, they gonna pick up, RZA's gonna mix it. That's it, you know what I mean? But that album gave me an opportunity to be an artist and create different ways of making another sequel, you know what I mean? And to me, that album was official, you know what I mean? All right, a lot of people ain't like it because they ain't hear Ghost constantly on it or RZA. But when you compare that album to other people's albums, I'm still dusting niggas off. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of people just wanted what they wanted, you know what I mean? And that's cool, but sometimes, you know, artists, we want to create other sides. I wanted to open up another door. I wanted to talk about some positive shit. I wanted to talk about some other shit. I wanted to dwell on different things outside of the regular. And that was an album that I did on my own. RZA, Wu-Tang, none of them was there for that one, you know what I mean? That was something that I wanted to create on my own and, you know what I mean, just say to myself like, wow, yo, you did your own fucking album.